Greetings everyone, welcome aboard. My name is Joseph James. Happy Thursday to you, September 30th, 2010, the last day of the month, last day of the third quarter. Another good day in the room. Before we talk about the trades we took today though, I want to remind you guys, if you're on the blog right now, make sure you guys follow the blog, right? Lower right hand corner, follow the blog. Don't forget, Trade Room Resources, brand new section of the blog right now, guys. Make sure you click on that link up at the top in the blog called Trade Room Resources and get to know all the important stuff in that section of the blog, guys. Trade Room Resources has contract specification information, information on charts, templates we use, the setups we have, our morning routine, guys. Everything's there for you, and don't forget, you can also search the blog as well for any topics you guys have more questions about. All right, let's keep going. We took 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 total trades today. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 total trades. We started off and we finished the day on the gold today. We traded some crude. We got some Russell involved there. Now, as you'll see here, we had some real easy trading in the beginning of the morning. And then at about 10 o'clock, the personality shifted a little bit when the dollar began to go back up into its sideways range from yesterday. And that's when we saw the crude market, right, was breaking the highs. We were trying to get our hands on a nice big breakout to the highs on crude. We'll talk about more of that in a second, though. So crude, Russell, gold, 195 ticks. We made $700, guys. We were halfway to this goal today before 10 o'clock. And then we put another $600 in our pocket on gold to finish up the day. And then we scratched our way through the crude and the Russell. Okay, so 195 ticks, 1950 for the day. That brings our weekly total to 7121, monthly total 17,400, and now just shy of 150,000 for the year, guys. At the end of the first quarter, right? At the end of the third quarter, excuse me, $150,000 for the year, guys, on 4 contracts. I trade 4 contracts in the room. You can start with anything above 1 contract, guys. In fact, if you got no money in your account right now, you can qualify to manage accounts for us too. So you don't need to have any minimum investment, guys. No minimum in your account right now. 1 contract, 4 contracts, 40 contracts, guys. It'll all work with us. Come on, join us tomorrow in our trade room. We'll finish up a great week here tomorrow on Friday. Now, what's the most important thing that happened today? Well, guys, remember, we had 2 big reasons to be really excited about this morning. Right? We were all ready for 8:30 news, and we opened up our chart this morning. We saw the dollar had broken the highs and the lows of the trading range from yesterday. We call that what? An outside trading day. So we had 2 main reasons why we wanted to be confident today. We knew 8:30 we had GDP and jobs, and that was expecting to give us a big move out of the market. And because we saw the dollar had broken to the downside, we thought, boy, right, this could be a great roller coaster ride today in the markets. It was, but we definitely didn't see nearly the amount of movement that we expected. We expected with GDP and jobs on a Thursday morning, we expected this thing's going to be really moving up and down for us, but we really didn't get that big move we expected. Now, we made about $700 here before 10 o'clock. We traded the gold, we traded the crude, we traded the Russell. We made a bunch of money early in the day, and then the dollar, which had dropped, began to flutter back up, and it went into the sideways range from yesterday. When that dollar goes into the sideways range from yesterday, we call it an inside day, and everything else gets real choppy. So from about 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, everything got real choppy while that dollar was breaking back to the upside. And then sure enough, while that dollar finished its move to the upside, gold finally triggered a trade we've been waiting all morning for, and we made 60 ticks on gold to finish off the day. So we made a bunch of money in the beginning, a bunch of money at the end. It was all about keeping that middle portion of the day under control. And guys, at about 10:15 this morning, we really had to kind of calm down a little bit because the market was really whipping around. Now, if you lost some money at 10 o'clock today and then made that money back at 11 o'clock like we did, right? This is one of those examples where you've got to step back for a second and say, is the personality changing? The personality before 10 o'clock this morning was very different after 10 o'clock. And identifying that personality is made much easier by coming in, going through our morning routine, right? Looking at volume, speed, reading the tape. All those things will help me to identify the early morning personality. And then by identifying the personality in the early morning, I can then watch as that personality transitions throughout the rest of the morning, right? And that's what will keep you out of those nasty chop-out trades from 10 to 11 this morning, right? I took a couple of them, but really we had a hard time waiting for that perfect pattern to be triggered between 10 and 11 this morning. All right, now here's that dollar we're talking about. Here's my dollar. Now you can see here on the dollar, what do you see? Right, well here's my trading range from yesterday. Right, there's my range from yesterday. And what happened here this morning was the dollar broke out to the downside. Okay, so of course, seeing the dollar drop, we know outside day, we know everything else should be moving this morning. And then at about 11 o'clock this morning, the dollar came back up, went sideways inside the range, and then actually went up and tested the highs here and then came back down. So the dollar gave us a nice move down, right? That gave us those easy trades in the beginning of the day. Then the dollar went up into the sideways range. That's when things started getting real choppy from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. And then it actually went all the way up, tested these highs up here, and then came back down. That's what gave us that final few moves of the morning, right? That gave us that 60 ticks on gold. All right, so for the most part, we learned a valuable lesson last week, and we applied that valuable lesson here today. When we're back in the sideways range in the dollar from yesterday, right? If we find ourselves fluttering back up and then trading sideways in the same sideways range previously this week, we know we got to be careful, right? Because nothing's changed. People will be sitting on hands waiting for that dollar to pull the strings for the rest of the market, right? So that's what the dollar looked like this morning, and the dollar gave us a great heads up, but it also told us what to expect later on in the morning, and that would have helped avoid any losses you guys took. Let's see here. First trade of the day was on gold. Let's go to gold first. Now here's my sideways range on gold, right? There's my sideways range on gold. Now here's what happened on gold, guys. We started out the morning by buying, right, the breakout above the 13.6. Now you can see we had a trend line here, so we're going to use that trend line, right, to literally buy this low, use that trend line as support, right, buy the lows as support, trend line as support, and go to the upside. Notice over here, we had the previous high of day, right? There's my previous high of day. Previous high of day here was, right, 13.6, I think it was, right, 13.6. I'm sorry, 13.8 was that previous high of day. So once we broke above that 13.8, we broke above the previous high of day. Guys, remember the previous high of day, above the previous high, I'm a bull. Below the previous high, I'm a bear. We took our first trade buying above the break of the previous high, knowing that the buyers were still in control. Well, then, of course, it comes tumbling back down, and we ended up getting in our short here below 5.6. Now, this was that monster trade we were looking for, right? Look at this. Triple bottom, right? So, of course, this is a two-step, a massive two-step here, right? Massive two-step off the highs. We were waiting for this 5.6, right, for 1, 2, and then halfway through our third day. It took us 3 days here, guys, to see that 5.6 tumble. And when it did, that's when we made our final two trades. Gets below that 5.6, we then want to be a seller looking for support at 2 even, and that's exactly what we did here on the gold. Okay, so the first trade of the day here, guys, like I said before, first trade of the day was when the buyers were still in control. The buyers pushed it back above the previous high of day. We took the long above the previous high of day. Now, here's what happened. We came down, right? Now, notice right here, we got 1 and 2. What do you see there? I see higher lows, and then we saw increasing speed and big buyers with